I could see Dennis a while ago. I mean, Mike a while ago. Huh.
Yeah, mine doesn't pop up until somebody speaks, and then it pops up.
Okay, Rob.
Oh, gotcha. Maybe that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay, Rob.
You guys are on TV.
We're ready to go? Okay. This is the February 24th, 2021 meeting of the Moscow Planning and Zoning Commission. Welcome, everybody. We have, I believe, in chambers, Dennis and Scott and Rich and Nels. Joining us via Zoom, Joel and Mike and Wendy and myself, and I believe Victoria is on phone.
I am on the phone.
Super. Okay. Well, welcome, everybody, and we'll start moving through the agenda. First item is approval of the February 10th, 2021 minutes, and I believe we had a couple of corrections. I saw some items from both Victoria and from Wendy, and I believe, Jennifer, you've already made those corrections. So I guess we need a motion to move to approve the minutes as corrected.
I so move.
Second.
Moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Victoria second, and all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passed. Next item is public comment. I can't see that part of the gallery, but Mike, is there anybody in chambers that would like to speak?
No, there's no members of the public present.
Okay, all right, we'll move past that one. So next item is approval of the reason statement of relevant criteria and standards for the rezone and preliminary plat that we did last week. Mike, are there any issues that you need to address on that one?
I don't, Rob. There are a few corrections submitted, and we've revised those, and those should be included.
Okay, so any questions from commissioners? Okay, well, if somebody would like to, Mike, do you want two separate motions, or can we do it in one?
You can do it in one if you like.
Okay, so anybody care to move to approve reason statement of relevant criteria and standards for both the rezone and the preliminary plat that we recommended to Waitau County last week, or last meeting?
I move the approval with corrections.
Okay, Joel, and second?
Second.
I'll second.
Rich, okay, super. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, done. So next item is the final review of the public art lighting and draft ordinance. Mike, were you thinking that you wanted to bring that up as a PowerPoint again, or do we want to just go to discussion?
I don't have a PowerPoint ready. I was just planning on discussing the item and giving a recap of where we're at, and just letting everybody know that last meeting we talked about this and put it for public hearing on March 10th, so next month. And we had received a public comment over the last couple of days from Nancy Cheney, and we've included that, distributed to the commission as well. So if anybody has any questions of staff pertaining to that.
I'd like to comment on that. I appreciated Nancy's input and understood the issues. My sense and my recommendation is that we move this forward. If there's issues that we need to hear, we could hear them again during the public hearing, but I'm not in favor of stopping this process to engage with the Sustainable Environment Commission at this time. I think we've done adequate due diligence and the work that we've done and the demonstration that Scott did. So I certainly welcome other views from commissioners, but my feeling is that we move forward.
Rob, I concur with what you just said. I think also the fact that there was a field test of the impact was very important and revealing, and that was open to the public too, right? I mean, wasn't it?
Yes, it was an announced meeting.
Yeah, so I I don't know, and maybe Victoria wants to weigh in on this since she's a member of the Sustainable Environment Commission, but it seems like it came to us from the Art Commission, and we looked at it pretty thoroughly and made a rational decision based on evidence. So I guess that's how I feel about it.
Great,
Yeah, I
thank
agree
you.
with you, Wendy. I think we've done our due diligence, and it can be brought up at public hearing, and City Council always has last say.
Super. Okay. Mike, do you need any further direction then from commission on moving forward, or do we just say go ahead and get it scheduled?
I don't necessarily, unless any of the commissioners have any other questions about the language, the proposed ordinance, so.
Anybody? Okay, I will consider that we're moving forward, and that'll be scheduled for the March 10th meeting. I believe that's our next meeting, isn't it, Mike?
Correct.
Okay, super. All right, very good. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your input on that as well, and I appreciate Nancy's input.
Yes, likewise.
Need to
that's it. Yeah.
be cognizant of that. So, okay, well, this is going faster than normal. Mike said that this was going to be a short meeting, and I think he's exactly right.
You're going to set a record, Rob.
Not intentionally. We'll see if we can drag this out a little bit. Joel, I think you're next up with the transportation.
Well, that can be short also. Our next meeting is the day after the next P&Z meeting, so March 11th, and I haven't seen an agenda yet, so I don't have anything to say.
Okay, and probably not next time either if it's not till the 11th of March. Well,
The previous meeting was canceled, so I no comments on that either.
okay, super. Well, thank you. Let's see, Mike, any announcements?
I do have an announcement. As you recall, a couple months ago, we had kind of finalized working on the sign code amendments, and the next step was to have a discussion with the Latah County Board of Realtors on just the impact that that sign code ordinance would have on the real estate signs. And so I was invited to their board meeting, and that occurred last week, and gave a presentation on our proposal, and it seemed well received and answered a few questions. And if they have any comments in regards to the ordinance, they're going to submit those prior to a public hearing being scheduled. But yeah, it seemed like it was well received, and the changes that we are making, they seem all right with.
Super. Thank you for your work on that, Mike. I really appreciate that. So do you have an anticipated date on public hearing on that one?
Well, I'll probably bring it back next time, on March 10th, and then we can, if we decide to schedule it for public hearing, I think that's going to be the next step.
Super. Okay. The only other thing that I would mention is that I've been invited to participate in a subcommittee of the Sustainable Environment Commission. I did not participate in the last meeting, and the one that was supposed to happen this past Monday was canceled. The next one, I believe, is next Monday, but unfortunately, I'm going to be tied up with Mike. We're giving the annual commission report to City Council on Monday, and you're invited to zoom in on that if you want. I'm going to participate via Zoom for that meeting. Mike has prepared a presentation. So, Wendy, you have experience with this. It's probably, a 30-minute kind of a...
Not even that. Usually 15 or 10 or 15.
Okay. I think...
Keep it short.
We'll be highlighting some of the activities, including the some of the ordinance changes that we've made over the last year. The 5G will be a part of it. Oh boy, I'm having one of those senior moments on our development. The
Subdivision code.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say again, Mike.
Subdivision code.
Subdivision code, yeah, we'll talk about that. And I believe that we're going to talk a little bit about the art lighting as well. So, anyway, we'll be doing that just as the regular part of the commission activities to report to council. So, on that note, the next meeting is the 10th of March. Does anybody else have anything that they want to bring up? I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you going to the effort of either coming in or zooming in for what is now a 10-minute meeting. I apologize for not stringing these out a little bit longer. We'll work on seeing if we can make these meetings a little bit longer. I think there's going to be enough activity coming at us over the next few months that we'll make up for that. So, Mike, anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Nothing from staff, Rob.
Okay. Anything else from any of the commissioners? Wow. Okay. Thank you. Joel, was that a yes or was that a goodbye?
Well, I was shaking my head in disbelief.
Yeah.
Well, I could throw something in the ring for a second. I was asked by our council representative because of the mixed road development, and then we got cut off because she had a bad connection. Why we encourage large parcel development in the area of impact. And what I responded with and got cut off, but I want to know how the rest of you think, is that we do, by changing the subdivision ordinance and expanding opportunities for developers, we allow cluster development and we allow traditional subdivision planning, and that it's a matter of developers electing to do that. We don't really have a lot of control over that, but there might be mechanisms to encourage them more, to look at that model, because it's a more sustainable model than everybody just parceling out individual parcels. I don't know how the rest of you feel and what's possible, or maybe that's a question for Mike, but.
Well,
I guess my understanding of the last two that we dealt with was that part of the reason that they were large lots is that they were in areas that could not be reasonably served with city utilities, and they were large enough to allow on-site utilities.
Right, and that is, cluster development can do that by having a community septic too, so, and well, but I was just wondering, with our ordinance, would it apply in the, in sort of the impact area where we haven't really annexed to the city? Because that parcel seems like with 45 acres, it might be heading in that direction. That was why the question was posed to me, and I didn't have a good answer, but I was curious particularly what Mike thinks about that. So.
Rob, this is Victoria. So
Yes.
That is actually county area, and that will go along with what the county does. We are only making a recommendation because we do look ahead for that could get incorporated. So we want to make sure infrastructure is good. But it's going to follow the
I understand
guidelines
that,
for
Victoria.
the county.
I understand it's in the area of impact, and we just can comment. But should we be making recommendations that they, look at a more clustered development with the prospect of future annexation and more efficient land use? That's really kind of what the question is.
Yeah, but I think we might be stepping on toes that aren't our toes.
Well, maybe
I don't agree with that, but yeah.
Maybe there's an opportunity though, and Mike and I can talk about this a little bit. Maybe we can share with the county the direction that we've been trying to move with the cluster development, and see if we could encourage them to kind of look at it in the same way. I don't know. Maybe they already have. Mike, have there been discussions with the county on issues like that?
Yeah, we shared our proposed subdivision ordinance that has the cluster and the conservation, it's just the conservation and the traditional subdivision options. And they seemed receptive. Of course, it area city impact, so it would take adopting those ordinances when they do get passed by council within the area city impact, and it would just be an agreement between the county and the city at that point to amend the area city impact agreement. So in just conversations with staff up to this point, we've shared the proposed ordinance, and all indications point to them being receptive to possibly adopting that in the area city impact to allow property owners to utilize those options that we worked on.
It would, for one thing, that's great news, because for one thing, if these areas eventually get annexed into the city, when you have a more clustered development, it lends to a much more efficient extension of infrastructure than when everything's dispersed. So I think it's a great conversation that you've had, and it sounds like they're open to it, and keep it rolling, I guess, is what I would suggest. But.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. That's really a good point. And Mike, maybe we'll spend some time and you can get me a little bit more briefed in on some of the conversations that you've had with the county and where we might have an opportunity to go next. So that's great. I appreciate you all bringing that up.
It seems
okay. Any Wendy, was that what you wanted to address? Is that
Yes, it was. Thank you. I just thought, well, I should pass it on. It was a conversation that I was contacting. It was a conversation that got disrupted by the person's internet phone connection or something. So we didn't finish our conversation. But
right.
Anyway.
Super. Okay. Well, anything else from any of the commissioners or Mike, Jennifer?
I think Nels might have had something.
It just seems to me that size is a big factor here. If you're talking about 5 lots, it's hard to think in the same terms. If you're talking about 20, now all of a sudden you'd really like to consider a different approach. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Schweitzer's land on the edge of town, but when somebody just has a small development, it's trickier to think in those terms. I don't know where I don't know if Randall Laurent ever had a sort of a size factor, Wendy. I don't know if you recall that.
Well, I think part of it isn't part of this subdivision eventually to include another 45 acres or a portion of that anyway. It's a large parcel that's going to be developed.
The adjacent property to the south was around 56 acres, I believe, and the intention there was that could potentially be served by city utilities. And so
okay, yeah.
And so that, as things come to fruition and that property ends up coming into development, then it's likely that it would be annexed into the city.
I got you. But to answer Nels, we had Randall Laurent come visit probably 15 years ago. The county, Linda Paul, was on city council, and she and whoever was county planner brought him in, and we had workshop sessions. And I know Randall pretty well, but he a 40-acre parcel is a typical size subdivision that he would work on, and so I agree with you that a short plat of 3 lots probably doesn't isn't in his scale of development that he for his open space subdivision planning, but the larger parcel was what I was really thinking about. So anyway, that's
super. Okay, thanks, Wendy. And Nels, thank you. Appreciate that. So unless we have any other issues, I guess we're going to be forced to, we managed to bring it out to 20 minutes. So appreciate no records broken today. So So with that, I guess we'll see all of you on the 10th. And one more thing, Mike, you'd indicated that council is relaxing the in-chambers meetings. Do I understand that correct?
I think there's going to be an email that's going to come out in the next week or two, but yeah, that's my understanding that we'll start to have some of the buildings opened.
Okay, so we'll address that in future meetings, and it'll be nice. Zooming is convenient, but it's nice to be with all of you in person. I think I miss the connection with everybody. So, but we'll continue to use the technology that we've got. So anyway, with that, I guess we'll say meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.